Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you guys so much for coming today. Danny, absolutely amazing event. To pull this many amazing souls into this room is an honor and a privilege to be here. I'm going to give you guys a small backstory on how I know God exists. Because when we look at the word faith, it's having the ability to believe in something that might not be factual. So, very similar to Eddie, actually, since I can remember when I was a child, um, my mom had taken us to Spain, and I genuinely believed in my heart, in my soul, that I was born to play basketball. Every day I trained, every day I would work at it, every day I would put in what I believed would get me to that point of playing basketball professionally in Spain. Throughout my career, you hear various people tell you along the way, which I'm sure you've experienced as well. Do you know how many people try to do this? You know how hard it is? It's 1 in a million. Why do you think you can do it? You're not good enough. You're not strong enough. You're not tall enough. You're not smart enough to even attend school at the next level. People will tell you this along the way. And I was very fortunate where, regardless of the situation I was in, I had people around me who believed in me, who were people of faith. And when I got to university, that was the stepping stone into me getting to that point. If I can beat this, I'm one more step away from my goal. One more step of being who I know I'm supposed to be. God has put me on this earth to be. What they don't tell you about professional sports and what they don't tell you about when you set a goal for yourself is when you finally get there, but you do it without God, how empty you feel. They don't tell you about how in professional sports, when someone messes up, when someone has a bad game, regardless of if they have their family with them there, regardless of if they have nowhere to go back home to, they get sent home the next day. Now, me, coming from Edmonton, Alberta, I had no idea what that was like. So that was a huge shock. You wake up the next morning and someone is gone. Someone that you create a relationship with is gone. Not because they're a bad person, not because they're not good at basketball, not because of any other reason other than they're a number. You wake up to realize you're a number. You wake up to realize if I don't play well, if I don't do exactly what must be done, if I don't be perfect, I'm gone. When I finally got to the professional level, I played my first 2 years in Ontario. Probably the hardest time in my life, but also the time in my life I'm the most grateful for. You're around people all the time who they cope with alcohol, with weed, and you normalize it in your brain. You truly believe that, well, this person can play a full game, this person can drop 20, this person can get every rebound, but they smoke weed right after practice, first thing in the morning when they wake up. And then you see them before the games, they have their Bible, still praying, okay? Does God support this? Am I okay to do this? Eventually I got to a certain point where I normalized it to myself. Things that I never, ever believed was right, but I normalized it to myself. So I started doing it. Difference was I wasn't used to that, so my performance dropped. Now that anxiety, those doubts of, am I going home? They started to creep in. In my third year, I accomplished my goal of playing professional basketball in Spain in the Silver League over there. And when I got there, everything that I had dreamed of, every feeling that I had as a child, the photos that I had as a child of wanting to do it, the little letters that I wrote myself, everything felt as though it should be amazing, but it was empty. Fast forward 8 months, we're getting close to playoffs, and COVID hits. I'm sure you guys all remember what COVID was like. And I remember asking my coaches, so what happens if COVID comes here? What happens then? Oh, don't worry about it. You're going to be fine. It is what it is. We're still going to keep playing. Okay, but what if? I always asked. Even in a different language, I was still able to tell when someone would think I'm not smart enough to know what I'm talking about. Who is this guy? A week later, we got sent home. And not only did they not send me back to Canada, they sent me to England because I had an uncle there. They thought, oh, he's going to be fine. It is what it is. And they refused to pay for my flight back to Canada in the middle of COVID. I remember thinking during COVID, I have to stay ready. This is everything that I've dreamt of. This is everything that I've become. I spent my whole life building for this. I remember thinking to myself, if I'm not this, then who am I? I put my worth into basketball. My identity was basketball. Because of the coping mechanisms that I developed from friends, teammates, when I didn't know who I was, I turned to alcohol, turned to weed. I love the passage that you shared, Matthew, when you shared, what you hide has power over you. For me, that's always been a huge thing because one morning I woke up after indulging in alcohol, indulging in weed, bringing a knife to my arm multiple times. Not because I wanted to hurt myself, not because I wanted to feel death, but because I was so numb to the feeling of not knowing who I am without everything that I've tried to be my whole life, that I wanted to feel something, anything. And then when I woke up that next morning, I remember calling my mom and sharing with her, and she said, okay, well, what do you need from me? And I just said, you know what? I don't know what I need, but I know I need to change. I need to go back to who I was, not even knowing what that meant. So I prayed. I prayed to find myself and my purpose for whatever God had meant for me, because this was no longer it. I've been asked by my elder brother before, when I finally shared the story with him, and he asked me about my scars on my arm. He said, why don't you get a tattoo? Why don't you cover it? What you hide has power over you. After praying for my purpose, I found a new version of myself. I believe his name's Samuel. Samuel was in our group. Talked about when you are reborn through Christ. The reason that I know Christ exists, the reason that I know God is always in your corner, regardless of how you feel, regardless of what you truly believe, he's always in your corner, is because after praying to become the person he meant me to be, I found my fiance, I found a new job for myself, I recreated myself. Spent a year where I swore to myself, I'm not gonna be drinking alcohol, weed is over. Anything that alters my brain, anything that alters who I am as an individual must be stopped. So, today I'm very grateful because not only have I found myself in my calling through real estate and helping individuals, but 5 years later, my younger brother, who I love to death, he played his first 2 years of professional basketball. And I remember seeing that darkness start to creep into him. being able to call him, talk to him through those moments. Hey, I know what you're going through. You need to trust me on this. God has a plan. I'm not here to share my story with you guys, and even still I get goosebumps when I think about it, but I'm not here to share my story with you guys to tell you that, the lies that we're told are going to stop, because they won't. You're always going to hear certain things about who you're meant to be, what you're not meant to do. You're always going to hear that. It'll never stop. But if you put your faith in God, you will trust me when I tell you guys, you cannot imagine why he's put you through a trial to where now you can help someone else. So, as I said, I just wanted to share my story with you guys. I really, really hope that for someone it resonates. The biggest thing that I want you guys to hear in all this is that you don't always know what your path is. And sometimes even when you do, that path can change in a flash. But if you put your faith in God and you trust in God, you will find yourself. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you.